Hey guys, Julie Nicole here, and I wanted to get on here and share a very quick story with you guys. But just watching what is going on in our country right now, I am very concerned. There are people that are in power that are doing everything possible to divide us. They're trying to divide us racially, they're trying to divide us by class, they're trying to divide us by party, by gender. And when you want to take over a nation, if you study history, you divide and conquer, right? Hitler did it. All your, dictators throughout history, that's what they did. And I'm reading a book right now. It's about communism, and it's written by people that had escaped communism. And they were saying one of the things that the CCP, the Communist Chinese Party, did when they came into power, it was to divide people. And what they did was they divided the landowners from the people that were working the land. They created this division. And I just am really concerned about what is happening, and people are falling into this trap. They're falling into, they're biting the bait. They're listening to people who are, they're provoking people to anger. They're provoking people to divisiveness. Yes, are there issues in this country with racism? Absolutely. But on both sides of the table, black and white, if you sit there and you watch these provocateurs, right? That spirit of anger, that spirit of offense can get on you. I'm telling you, it is a very real thing. You have to be very careful who you're listening to and what you're watching. God says, look on those things. He tells us to focus on those things that are good, that are pure. Am I saying to ignore these things? Absolutely not. We have to be wise, and we have to educate ourselves. But to just constantly listen to this stuff, this negativity, it gets in your spirit. And I wanted to share a story with you guys. I wanted to tell you guys, don't bite the race bait. What do I mean by that? That we naturally do not grow up discriminating or hating somebody because of the color of their skin. That is something that is taught. We teach people that, right? And I wanted to share a story with you guys. When my kids were little, my ex-husband, their father is black. And when my middle son was about 9 years old, his name is Joseph, and their youngest brother, Hawk, was probably about 6. He had come home from school, and he was talking about one of his friends, a little kid he'd become friends with. And he was trying to explain what the little boy looked like. And he was like, yeah, he's got, brown hair, and he's got kind of brown skin like me. And just casually, without even thinking, I said, oh, okay, he's probably mixed, like you. His mom may be white, his dad may be black, like your dad is black. And all of a sudden, my son Joseph, who was 9 at the time, he gets this really confused look on his face. And he's like, you mean our dad is black? And of course, my daughter, being the little smart mouth at the time, she's like, of course, stupid. Of course your dad is black. But what was so funny about that is that, and yes, my kids know who their father is. For those of you who are saying, well, maybe he doesn't know who his father is. Yes, we were married at the time. So he definitely knew who his father was. But that was never an issue in our home. We might have had other issues, but race was never an issue. It was never even talked about that, oh, your father's black and I'm white. It never came up in our family because it literally was not an issue. We didn't think in those terms. So my son didn't even know his father was black. Like, what is black? That's just my dad. And so I share this story with you guys to remind you, to encourage you guys to look at people as people. To stop looking at people, stop making prejudgments about people. You don't know people's stories. If you would sit down and you would listen to people, black, white, Hispanic, Middle Eastern, all over the country, different shades from the whitest white to the darkest black, you would hear commonalities in all these people's stories. What does everybody want? Everybody wants their children to do well. Everybody wants to be treated fairly. Everybody wants to be loved. People want to have purpose in life. They want to live in safe neighborhoods, right? That's what everybody wants. That is a common theme. You will find, I don't care where you go around the world, you will find people that are prejudiced. You will find people that are full of hate. You will find people that mistreat people. But you will also find in every single one of those demographics, in every country all around the world, of every shade of color. And I hate the word race. I really hate that when they talk about races, because there is one race. There is literally one race. We all came from the same person. So the same blood runs through all of us. There's not different races. We created that as humans. People created that to separate and to divide us, right? People who have an agenda to oppress people and to take advantage created that term. There's only one race, the human race, right? We made that term. But just for purposes of arguments, right? They want to divide us by the color of our skin. They want to divide us by race, right? Whatever you want to call that, right? I don't believe there's different races. There's one race. But all human beings want basically the same thing. There's good in every single demographic, every color of skin. There's good and there's bad. But if you constantly look for something, you're going to find it. But I believe in every single person, even if, let's say, they are racist. Isn't our job to try to find the good in that person and draw that good out, rather than exemplifying the evil or the bad or the racism in that person? I did prison ministry for 8 years, and I met people that had done absolutely horrible things. People that had beaten their pregnant girlfriends with baseball bats. I had worked with people that had shot and killed and beaten their mothers to death in their sleep. I had dealt with people who had shot and killed people and threw them in the back of their trunk, raped people, sold drugs that killed people, robbed people, like every crime that you can think of, raped children, which is to me one of the most horrible things I can possibly think of, right? That's one that I have a hard time dealing with. But I dealt with these individuals every week. I went into that prison twice a week for hours I spent in that prison for over 8 years. And you know what my job was? It was to try to find good in those men that I worked with. And you know what I found? Even in the most violent criminals, there was good in them. I didn't go in there saying, oh, you're a drug dealer, you're a rapist, oh, you're a murderer, you're a domestic abuser. And I dealt with people of every color, white, black, Hispanic, Arab, all these people I dealt with. But my job was to go in there and to draw the good out of them. That is what our job is, guys. If we continue to keep dividing ourselves and focusing on the problem, because what you focus on, it grows. If we focus on the evil and the bad in people, you know what's going to happen? That's what we're going to find. That's what we're going to draw out of them. If I constantly sit there and tell you that you're stupid and you're dumb and you're going to end up just like your father in prison, you know what's probably going to happen? Except for very, very strong individuals. But if I keep telling you that over and over again, oh, you're going to fail, you're stupid, you know what's going to happen? You end up believing that. It's like a self-fulfilling prophecy that we speak over people. And we speak it over ourselves. And I've heard stories like that. I remember a guy I talked to, he was in there and he was in a gang and he had been in and out of prison. And his mother was a drug addict. She was a prostitute and his father was in prison. And he said, growing up, I was a pretty good kid. He said, my grandmother raised me. But he said, people constantly told me, you're going to end up just like your father. You're going to end up just like your mom. And he said, you know what? He goes, after a while, I started to believe it. And where did he end up? He ended up in prison. So my job was, when I went in there, it was to tell them who God created them to be. I said, these are the things that you've done, but that's not who you were destined to be. That is our job as Americans, guys. What I think is great about America is that we have so many different people coming here as one people. What's also great is that there's all these differences. I think it's beautiful. I think diversity is beautiful. Everybody brings something different to the table. But our job is not to point the finger and say, you're this. Because you have this color of skin, you're this, right? Whatever that is, whatever that prejudice is. That's not our job. Our job is not to stereotype somebody. You don't know their story. I have talked to so many people because I love to hear people's stories. I love to listen to them. And I've heard stories of every demographic, of horrible abuse, horrible pain, things that have happened to them, struggles that have happened to them. It happens to all of us, guys. That is the human experience. That's a product of living this thing we call life, that we're all going to have struggles. But I'm making a plead with you, whoever watches this video today. I am pleading with you as an American, whether you were born here, whether your parents were immigrants, whether you were an immigrant, we are one people here in America. And if we do not start trying our best to unite, we're going to be destroyed from within. That's what they're doing. There is an agenda, guys. And I'm not going to get into it in this video because I don't have time. But there is an agenda. We have an enemy, right? The number one enemy is Satan. Okay. We all have that enemy, right? But there are people who are vessels of Satan who want to come in and destroy this country. Do I think this country is great? I do think this country is great because of what it was founded on. I'm getting off topic here. Was there flawed founders? Absolutely. They were flawed, right? We know that. We know they were flawed. But do we discard everything that somebody believed in because they were flawed? Do we discard that? If that's the case, you know what, guys? Every single one of us are disqualified. I'm disqualified. I have a lot of mistakes. I've done a lot of wrong things in my life. I am not perfect by any means. Anybody could point the finger at me and judge me and say, you're disqualified. And you know what? They'd be right. Because by man's standard, I am disqualified. And so are you. We're all disqualified. But you know what it is? They had a foundation that was on Christ. They were flawed people, like all of us. But you know what? That's what makes this country great. That all these flawed people can come together and bring something great out of that. And that is that foundation that all men are created equal. All men should have equal opportunity. Now, did they treat everybody equal? No. But that is the objective. That's what we're trying to obtain here in America. But if all we do is focus on the flaws of people, you know what we will become? More flawed. Because what you focus on, it grows, guys. It grows. Try that sometime. Focus on all the negative things in yourself. Sit there and tell yourself, you know what? You're fat. You're a failure. Nobody likes you. You won't be able to get this job. And see what you become. You're going to become that because that's what you're focused on. If you don't think you can succeed, you're not going to succeed. If you look at a professional athlete, one of the things you will see if you study professional athletes or people who have obtained amount of success is you will see they have a strong belief system and the ability to succeed. They believe that if they set their mind to something, it's going to happen. Beliefs are strong. And what you believe about yourself and you believe about people, people can feel it. If you walk into a room with a prejudice about certain people, I'm telling you, they can feel that. You don't have to say a single thing. They can feel that. Ever walked into a room and something feels off, right? You can sense it, right? Nobody said anything to you, but you can feel it. But you can also, when you walk into a room and you feel somebody believes in you, somebody's positive, somebody has love for you, you can feel that, guys. You can feel it. So your belief system, when you interact with people, they feel that. So if you have a prejudice or a certain belief about somebody, when you interact with them, they feel that. And that energy, it exchanges. Energy is a very real thing. Energy is very real. So I want to challenge you guys today to change your thinking. You might have some preconceived ideas about certain people who look different than you, right? You might say, oh, they're all like this. Is that a true statement? You know, I had a pastor one time. He said, anytime you say everybody or nothing or nobody, he said, those are usually not true statements. And I would agree. When we use statements like that, right? We've all done it, right? We all get in a habit. We don't think about what we're saying. Always, never. Those are usually not true statements. So when you say all these people, usually not a true statement. Okay? But if you keep looking for something, you will try to find evidence to prove that statement true. So I wasn't planning on talking this long. It was supposed to be something short, but I just got off on this. But I shared that story with you guys because I find it's cute and it's funny to think that my son didn't know that his father was black. And kids don't see color unless we put it in their head. We make them focus. You put a bunch of kids on a playground, right? They don't know anything about race. They're going to play with everybody because they don't see the difference. We do that. We do that based on our experiences. We put those kind of thoughts in kids' heads. We indoctrinate them with racism. It's not innate, right? It's not innate for us to be that way. Because God's DNA is in all of us. Whether you believe in God or not, his DNA is in you because he created you, right? God created us for love. He didn't create us for hate. He created us to love one another. So I want to encourage you guys, if you have gotten caught up in that type of thinking about people, I want to challenge you. I want to challenge you to change your thinking today. If somebody has hurt you, I want to challenge you to forgive them. You will not go through this human experience without being hurt by somebody. Whether they look different than you, different color skin, or the same color skin. Maybe it's your own family, right? Maybe you have wounds from your family. And when we get wounded, that's an opportunity for the enemy to come in and wound us more and to get us bitter. Because if we can get bitter, right, he can put that hate in us. And hate destroys us. It destroys other people and it destroys us, right? So I want to pray for anybody watching this video today that maybe you've got some wounds in you, that people have done things to you. Maybe it was your parents. Maybe it was a loved one. It was a spouse. It was a boyfriend. It was a girlfriend. Maybe it was your kids. I don't know. Maybe it was other individuals. Maybe you've dealt with prejudice. Maybe you've dealt with racism. People have hurt you. They've said things about you that were hurtful and they were wrong. Maybe they'll never apologize to you. I want to apologize to you. And I want to say, I'm sorry that these individuals hurt you. And I pray that God heals you. I pray he heals your heart. Because God, we need you in this country. And guys, we have to work together. We have got to work together in this country. And so, Lord, I pray for these people, God, that are hurt all around this nation. I pray for them today. I pray you heal our nation. We do have an ugly history in this country. A lot of horrible things that have been done to people in this country that are wrong. And we need reconciliation, guys. We don't need more hate. We don't need more division. So God, I pray for my nation today. I pray that you would raise up leaders in this nation, Jesus, to unite people in this country. I pray you raise up leaders to bring healing to this nation and not more divisiveness, not more racism, not more hatred. If you're watching this video and you feel compelled, you feel like God has been speaking to you about bringing racial reconciliation, put a comment in there. If you want to reach out to me, I'll reach out to you if you want to leave your contact information. I feel like the Lord has led me in this area, and I feel like it is needed. We need more people to bring racial reconciliation, not more division, guys. I know there's a lot of hurt. There's a lot of anger. There is, it's real. The hurt is real. I'm not denying that. But people need healing, guys. We need people who will humble themselves, who are willing to listen. I would like to create some forums with people. If you're watching, if you want to create a forum where we can bring people together, they can tell their stories. I'm not interested in doing stuff where we're just pointing the finger at people and pointing out problems. I'm not interested in that. We don't need more people to point out the problems. Okay, we all know there's problems here. We have huge problems here right now. What we need are people who are going to provide solutions. That's what I'm looking for. Okay, let's identify the problems and then let's come together and let's figure out ways we can solve these problems. I'm a problem solver. And I used to tell the guys out in prison, don't come to me and you just want to point out a problem. Only come to me if you have a solution to that problem. All that is a gripe fest. That's all it is. I have better things to do with my time, and you have better things to do with your time than to sit around complaining. So if you're watching this and you say, that's me, you know what? I want to create these forums. I want to come together. I want to bring racial reconciliation in this nation. Or if you have a story that you want to tell, where maybe you've experienced that. I have a blog. It's called The Upside, and I share stories of heroes, redemption, stories of hope, right? People need hope. If that's you and you have a great story, maybe it is about, when you've experienced racism, but how you overcame it. And it's going to give hope to other people of how we can overcome some of these things. Put a message in in the comments, a way for me to contact you. I'll reach out to you and we can talk about your story. But if that's you, share, like, subscribe, whatever to this channel, because I want to do things. I want to do things to help people, guys. That's what I want to do. And if that's you, I would love to collaborate with you, work with you in any way that we can. But I hope this helps somebody today, encourage somebody that we can do this, guys, that I believe that we can make this a great nation, that we can make great changes. We come together as one. So God bless you guys. I pray that you find healing, whatever you've been through. And I pray that hopefully watching this video has encouraged somebody to do a better job with loving people the way God loves us. And I love you guys. Take care. Bye.